I'm KI5GPI, Donna from Backyard Ham Radio. Today I'm going to be walking you through how to set up a Winlink email with an FTM300DR and a DigiRig mobile device. I want to thank first a lot of the ham radio operators out there creating content. All the links are going to be in the references. Without people creating content, I wouldn't be able to have done this today, so thank you. We're going to be doing several things today. We're going to be configuring the DigiRig mobile device using Windows Device Manager and Sound Manager. We're going to be using the winlink.org tools to find a Vara FM gateway that we can use to make contact with the radio and send the email. We're going to change the configuration on the Yeasu FTM300DR so that it'll work with the DigiRig device and send the email. And then we're going to attach the cables to the radio. We're going to use Vara FM to make modifications so that we have a good RF connection so that we can send the email. And then we're going to send a test email using Winlink Express. So this is the DigiRig device. It has a USB-C on one side, and then audio and serial connectors on the other side. So that's what gets connected to the radio. Now, this is the DigiRig mobile mini DIN cable that is for the Yeasu FTM300DR, so you're going to have to buy one of those for your specific radio that you use. This is a USB-A to USB-C cable from DigiRig, and the nice thing about this is it already has the ferrites on the end of it, so that helps reduce RFI in your shack or wherever you're operating. So it's nice to be able to have something like that. If you don't, if you just use a regular USB-A to USB-C, you might want to put ferrites on it. We're using the Winlink site, the Getting Started site for DigiRig Mobile, and the advanced manual for the Yeasu FTM300DR, and the links to those sites are in the notes also. Okay, so now we're gonna connect the DigiRig using the USB-C and the USB-A cable into the computer. We're going to just give it some time so that the drivers can load. The drivers are already loaded from a previous use of this, so I'll just be pausing and allowing that to happen. We're going to go to Control Panel and Hardware and Sound, and then Device Manager. So for your PC it might be a little bit different. I'm using an older PC for these types of things. So we're going to check the port in Device Manager to see if the CP210X USB to USART bridge is there, and to make note of the COM port. So on mine it's COM port 11. We're also going to be looking for a USB audio device. It also might have come in on your PC as USB PNP audio device. If you're unsure, go ahead and unplug the DigiRig from the PC and then plug it back in again, and you'll see which one is the correct driver for you to use. Now we're going to go over to the Sound Manager, and we're going to be setting the initial settings for the Sound Manager for the DigiRig device. I tend to set these settings pretty low initially, just to make sure that I don't damage my radio. So it's up to you. I'll mention the ones that you can set higher if you want to. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to the Communications tab in Sound Manager and reduce other sounds by 80%. That's just in case we get radio noise into the into the speakers. Initially, when the speaker is loaded, it just says speakers. In that box, you can change it to DigiRig speakers or anything you want to call it. You can also change the icon to a modem icon or any other icon you want, so it's easy to recognize. I set initially the speakers to 20. However, some people will recommend setting it at 100 for the speakers. It's up to you. Now for the microphone, same thing. It comes in as microphone. I changed it to DigiRig MIC. And then you can check the listen box if you want to hear the sound of the radio while you're operating. I don't want that to come out on that recording, so I turned it off. Normally, automatic gain control on the custom tab is checked. You want to uncheck it. And you want to set the microphone at 20. This is the one that you want to make sure you set at 20. One other thing that you want to do before you leave this screen is make sure that your computer's normal microphone and speakers are changed to default. If you don't, then when you're operating on the radio, you have the potential to send your computer sounds out through the radio waves, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is use Winlink tools in the RMS map to find a Vara FM RMS gateway that's public that we can use to send our email. So there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different protocols that you can use to send Winlink emails. You can use something called RDOP. You can use Telnet, which is the regular internet, and you can use packet, regular packet, on like a handheld radio. I am using Vara FM because I like it and it works with the FT60 that I have. So I'm just copying the information from the gateway into Notepad for several of the gateways in my area. Just in case one I don't have a good connection to, I can try the other. These have all worked well for me in the past, so they're the ones that I'm going to use. If the gateway is not working, it usually comes up as a red pin, I think. There's a legend on this RMS map if you want to go in and get familiar with it yourself. Okay, so we have that information that we will use later on when we configure Vara FM and use Winlink Express. So now we're going to switch over to the radio. And turn the radio on. So we're on the B channel, so that's where we want to be. First thing we're going to do is short press function, and then make sure the transmit power is on low. Then we're going to go back to the main screen, and we're going to long press the F setup key to get to the data menu. So you turn the knob that I'm turning right there. If you're not on the data menu, then you can scroll through it. On data 1, we're going to the COM port settings. We're going to change our speed to 9600 baud per second. That's basically what the gateway uses. And for my normal operation, output is on waypoint, and I'm going to press the button until I get the packet. And then I'm going to go back and go to the data squelch. That's the number 4 menu. We're going to change 2 settings here. One is the data setting. We're going to change it to TX/RX. If you just have RX on that, that's receive, and you'll, during the operation of Vara FM, you'll get a transmit prohibited. The TX is normally on. It needs to be off so that the radio recognizes the external TNC device, which is the DigiRig mobile. Otherwise, it's going to try to use its internal TNC, and that's not going to work because we want it to go through the DigiRig. Again, we have data set for B-band. I think that's the default on the radio, so if you haven't changed it, it's probably there. We're going to go back. We're on the frequency that we want to be on for our test, 144.930, and we also changed the volume so that it's all the way down on the radio. You don't want the volume up on the radio. Now we're going to connect the cables in the back. So we're going to take our 10-pin mini DIN. It has a flat side on the top and a little connector on the bottom, a little notch on the bottom. So we're going to line that up and carefully put that in. I'm a little overly careful at putting that in. Okay. So now we're going to go back and by the way, I turned off the radio before I connected that cable in, so I recommend that you turn off the radio before you do that. And now I'm putting the green and the black wires in their respective holes, which are serial and audio. I'm going to turn the radio back on. Make sure the volume's all the way down. We're going to just go back to the sound manager for a minute. Yep. Radio's back on. We're going to go back to sound manager. Just checking the frequency and the call sign again. As you can see on the microphone, the microphone is hearing the radio right now. So the microphone accepts the input from the radio, and the speaker sends signals to the radio. This is the advanced manual. The configuration that I used for the data is on page 55, and the information about turning the TX menu, the squelch menu off, is in very fine print, so it's there. Okay, so it looks like we're hearing the radio. We're going to go over to Vara FM. Check the levels. Turned it down a little bit because it looked a little bit high. Now we're going to set up the sound card and the push to talk settings in Vara FM, and after we do that, we'll be able to test our connection to see if propagation is good enough for us to make contact with that RMS server. So during one of the tests I did have the 2 meter band just basically dropped out, or it seemed like it dropped out. So the first thing we're going to do is set up the sound card. From the drop down menu you're going to pick your DigiRig microphone for input and your DigiRig speakers for output. And then in the push to talk menu you're going to pick, in our case we're going to pick COM. And then we're going to pick our port, which is COM 11, and then check RTS. Now what we can do with Vara FM is, from the sound card, is we can use auto tune to put in the call sign for the gateway that we want to use, and then press the plug. It's going to send a test signal over to the RMS gateway that we're hooked up to, and then it's going to receive a response back, and it's going to give us a report on what's the strength of that response. So I have the audio level needed to be changed. That was the speaker, not the microphone, but as you can tell, I didn't change the speaker, I changed the microphone. So I did this, so you really have to pay attention to what it's telling you on the screen. It will tell you exactly what you need to change, and you'll be able to get through. Okay, so there we are. We're at the approved level after getting the speakers at 90. So we're going to close this. And we're going to go over to Winlink Express and open that up and get it ready to go. So we're gonna, with Winlink Express, you do have to register beforehand. They'll give you a registration code and a password, and so you need to set all of that up on the configuration screen before you go. We're gonna create 2 messages for testing before we get started. One we're gonna send to test@winlink.com, or I'm sorry, winlink.org. That message will go over to Winlink, and then we'll get a return email from Winlink because they have that set up to work that way. So we're just going to send a quick message over to them and post that to the outbox. So with Winlink, you post to the outbox, and then you start your communication session with whatever protocol you're going to use, and then your messages get sent at that time. I'm also going to send a message to my personal email account, so we'll see that. I'll pause the video for just a minute and create that. So when we're all done, you're going to see 2 emails sitting in the outbox, ready to be sent. So we're going to go over and choose Vara FM for our protocol. If you've been using Winlink for a while and you think you might have a lot of messages in your inbox to receive, or you've got a lot in your outbox to receive besides your test messages, you might want to use a telnet connection, and just right before you do this test, and get all of your emails sent and received, so that the only thing that's going out is the test messages that you want. It just, you'll use less radio frequency for that. So then we, you can set up Vara so that it'll open when the session starts. So I had to close it and then reopen it, so there was only one version working. So now we're going to go in, and the call sign is already there for the server that we want to use. The radio's on the frequency that we want to use. And we're going to use a direct connection. There's also a digipeater connection, and things are slightly different for the digipeater, but we're going to use a direct connection today. So just checking to make sure everything's right, and then I'm going to hit the start button. And we're going to see the messages start to show up in the Winlink Express box. So it's going to send out the 2 email messages, and then it's going to check to see if we have any receiving messages. Vara FM, or Vara, is a program that charges. You can use it on a temporary basis, just like I've been doing. It costs about $69 to buy it, and it's like a one-time charge. So, and then you get a registration code, and you won't see the little pop-up box. So I just hit continue to continue using it free in this case. Okay, so I should have stopped the session as opposed to just closing the window, but I'm going to close the window. You can see that there's nothing in the outbox. And we've got one message that I sent yesterday on yesterday's test to test Winlink, and that's what the response looks like. And you can see where the 2 emails were sent today. So all in all, that worked out pretty well. The way I found out how to do the test email was in the Book of Knowledge for Winlink. If you're interested in getting started with Winlink, this is the recipes is a good place to start. If you've got one of the common radios, like an FT891 or a 991 or another model, you might find someone who's already set up their radio and the equipment to send out Winlink messages. So it's a good place to start if you're looking for information on how to set up Winlink. And then it's got a couple of download sites that you can go in and download Winlink Express. If you're using Android, there is a program called WAOD that I'll probably be doing a video real soon showing how to use the DigiRig in my FTM300 to use WODE to send out an email. So again, I want to thank everybody for taking a look at this video. It's my first one, so please comment and let me know what you think. I also put my Buy Me a Coffee link in the notes, so if you feel like contributing, please do so. 73, have a good day.